Hey, what's happening, people? Coach Holloway back with you again. So what I want to show y'all today is a video that I made on a breakdown of the trench play, O-line and D-line in the Super Bowl, specifically with KC's O-line versus Philly's D-line. Now, as y'all know, Philly's D-line had a historical stretch going on this season and in the playoffs. They had about 75 to 78 sacks. I can't remember the number, but they were impressive. But they run into Kansas City, who really took away all the things that they wanted to do. So I'm going to break down what it is that Philly liked to do and then what KC did to counteract that. So y'all enjoy. Right now, I'd like to show you the typical alignment and assignment that the Eagles like to run. So I'm showing you this alignment chart here to show you where the D lineman will line up typically in regards to the offensive lineman. So when it goes to the strength side, you're going to have a D tackle line up on a 3 or the outside shoulder of the guard. And you're going to have the backside D tackle or a nose is going to be on a 2 or a 2-eye. And then you're going to have the edge rushers to be on the wide 9s. So their goal is to push the pocket into the QB, which starts with the D tackles. The next part is for the edges to rush from the outside and push the tackles into the QB. So now when you have the middle pushed in and the outside pushed in, your field of view and throwing the ball is disrupted. So going ahead and take a look at the right side of the line. So both ends do push into the QB, but as you can see, Josh Sweat pushed the tackle so much that his leg goes out and trips Daniel Jones right there. And he's able to clean up for the sack. All right, but that's a good example of what they want to do. Here is a better example of what I was talking about with the interior push. Watch both of the D tackles and what kind of pressure they put on. Fletcher Cox gets credit for the sack, but really Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat ran Heineke into him. Sometimes playing defense is about pushing the ball carrier to a better athlete. Like if you can't get him, then you can push it to somebody who can. So in this one, I want to highlight Javon Hargrave out of South Carolina State University, who I think has been the focal point of the success of Philly's pass rush this entire season. Watch him get off and turn the shoulders of the guard to get inside. Now the part that Heineke messed up was that he pump faked, because he did have McLaurin open, but because of that split second, he was able to get the sack on him. Now I'm going to show y'all some things from the run game. And I want you to focus here, again, like I said, Javon Hargrave, South Carolina State, doing big things for Philly D. Watch him get hands on, and he already stood the guard up. So now that gap is his, that belonged to him. And watch him finish up. Now here's another one with that same kind of alignment with the 3 down linemen and the outside linebackers. But you see here, they're pushing the line of scrimmage back. Kamara got nowhere to go when he goes right into Jordan Davis. So as I said before, these D tackles, these interior linemen, they're really the focal point for the success on the defensive line, both rushing the pass and run defense. All right, now we get to the big game. Now, I know there's been a lot of discussion about this and a lot of controversy over the playing surface that they had to play on. And I get that, and I do admit that it was a factor, but I got to say that I still think that KC O-line would have handled Philly regardless, and I'm going to show you why. Philly comes through with their normal method of attack, getting the outside gaps. But what you see, the difference here is that KC O-line, their hands are up and in the D lineman's chest first. Now, before, when I've showed this stuff, you've seen that Philly is the instigator, the initiator. But when it comes to KC, they were just quicker with their hands. I mean, look at all that room that Mahomes got to throw, man. And then you see Sweat falling there, and that's been a thing. But I also want you to look at the right side and look at Hassan Reddick getting taken out by a tight end. It was bad. I'm going to get to him in a minute. And here they try to run a stunt on the left side, but the offensive line does a good job picking it up. And what I really like about this is how everybody stays square and they don't allow people to turn them until they absolutely have to. It's a problem I have with offensive lines around the league where a stunt will happen and a guy will turn his shoulders early and let another defender come in. But I like that Kansas City does it the way I think is best. You finally here have 5 men on the line of scrimmage, 3 down linemen and 2 outside linebackers. This is something a lot more teams are doing because they want to get those one-on-one matchups. Now, they do a good job here getting a better push, but Pat Mahomes does Pat Mahomes things. Being a good, strong, intelligent blocker is one thing, but it also helps when you have a terrific quarterback like you have right here. So I acknowledge that him being good is also another thing that helps the pass blocker. Now, there's a whole lot of slipping and sliding on this play, including from the offense, so I can show you that it's actually equal footing with what they had to deal with. But you see a lot of pass rush moves being made here by everybody, but they just still cannot get a clean shot on Mahomes, and he's able to get out and get a scramble. So on the interior, you got Ndamukong Suh and Milton Williams trying to do some crossover hezzy, but it doesn't work out for them. And then But then you have Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick trying to do some pass rush moves, and both tackles are able to handle that. They take the arms away, and then, of course, the turf being slippery, they end up slipping and falling. Before I begin, though, I just want to give a shout out. I didn't name out the offensive linemen for the Chiefs, but for left tackle Orlando Brown Jr., left guard Joe Tooney, center Creed Humphrey, right guard Trey Smith, and right tackle Andrew Wiley. These guys have been excellent all season, but they probably had their best game in this Super Bowl. I mean, everybody's technique was superior, especially their handwork, but also how they worked combination blocks, how they worked their shoulders, how they were able to stay in position and not get outdone and out-athleticized. Even on this play, like many others, you see Philly trying to come in with some technique and some handwork, and they're not having none of it. Especially Hassan Reddick, who really went down bad this game. It's just sad to watch on such a really great season from him. Normally, I'd say blitzing Mahomes was a bad idea, but given this situation, maybe they might would have considered it. One of the most underrated aspects of this game, I thought, was the run game. And Kansas City rushed for 158 yards in total for about a 6-yard per carry average. And if you take away Mahomes' scrambles, you would still get about 5.7 yards per carry there. So they really was dominating on the ground. I mean, you got to look no further than this play right here. I want you to see how the line get down to the next level, but watch everybody's shoulders being square, and then they turn. Start with the center. With Humphreys, you see him get off, squares, and then he turns, and then turns himself around to get upfield. And with that block, that might have sprung for the rest of the way. I can't stress enough how important in a zone blocking scheme it is to get your shoulders square upfield and then turn your defender where you want him to go. This is how this is open, and Pacheco gets a free lane to run through. So these next couple runs are actually from the first drive of the third quarter. If you remember from the game, Philly was up by 10, and with this drive here, which they were able to score on, they put the game within striking distance. So it was a game again after this. This is a simple fullback trap with my Georgia Southern brother, Jerick McKinnon. But I just want to say, I didn't mention it before, but everybody in this offense blocks. The receivers, tight ends, backup tight ends, running backs, it don't matter. But I just want to make that point clear. So here Philly comes in with a light box, and you didn't see that for the most part. When it was run situations or personnel, they had them pretty tight up. But this time they had light, even though they were running, Kansas City was running most of that drive. So watch the blocking here. Here's them running the trap play, way to trap Milton Williams, and they executed perfectly. And with the amount of holes you had here, he's lucky that he slipped and fell because this could have been a lot bigger. See, the turf worked against him too. This time you have a power, but this time with the left tackle, Orlando Brown, pulling. And as you can see, shoulders are square. They turn people where they want to. And there goes your lane. When you turn people outside the hole that you want, you're going to get that lane. The whole interior is getting down blocked perfectly, and you got the outside guys being based out. It's just perfect. In my opinion, I think the whole right side of the line, from Creed Humphreys to Tooney to Andrew Wiley, the right tackle, I think all of them probably had the best performance among the O-linemen. Normally, when I see an overload like this, I kind of expect the offense to run to the weak side since there are less people on the other side. But right here, they just don't care. They run right to the numbers. I think they did it for two reasons. Number one, they've been confident since they were running pretty good all game. But then also, if you look on the defensive right side, you got a bunch of safeties, undersized outside linebacker in Reddick, and Bradbury, the corner. So you had bodies to put there. This was a touchdown that was scored at the end of the drive, which, like I said, made it a 10-point game to a 3-point game, made it more competitive. They sent a lot of people in motion, which, as you're well aware, later on in the game, it caused a lot of confusion amongst that defensive backfield. And I still, to this day, I don't know what they communicate with the DBs in that situation on the goal line. And like I said, everybody in this offense blocks. I want you to watch Noah Gray, the backup tight end on the front side to your right, and watch Jerick McKinnon on the back side as a fullback coming through. Noah Gray, as you see here, he's going down block to take out the corner Bradbury, and then you have Jerick McKinnon getting a hit on T.J. Edwards. So as you can see, Philly came in there with an intimidating factor, but Kansas City O-line said, we're not having none of that. So I liken it to the shootout at the OK Corral with the Clantons, Big Bad Gang, Philly coming into the game, think they're going to do something, and then Kansas City plays the part of the Earps, that they're going to take away whatever it is they want to do. With the handwork, footwork, body position, blocking scheme, and then running the ball on them. That's something that I think was underrated what happened during the game. They ran the ball on them, and they were able to control. Even when Philly was controlling things in the first half, the second half, Kansas City really stepped up. But from the start of the game to the finish. I think that was the difference in their performance versus Philly being able to come up and get the win. So I just want to thank y'all for watching this video. Worked a lot hard for you, and I'm gonna keep working hard for you. Keep supporting the channel. Please like and subscribe. Keep this thing going.